What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are beginning our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam Katana. In this adventure, we learn about Ito Tsurugi and the BGST team. This team is on the verge of being forced to retire, but with the help of Ito, they will bring down corruption within EFF. Let's not waste any time, and let's get into this. A bunch of former EFF soldiers are harassing a young boy going through an alleyway. They tell him that he has to pay a toll to pass through. He has a sword on his back. We just cut to these thugs straight up dead on the floor as the kid walks through the alleyway. UC 0084. After the war, the majority of EFF's military infantry were demobilized. Many squadrons soon started to act like gangs as Earth's economy spirals into nothing. In the outskirts of Milan, a group of Fetty soldiers are transporting $10 million. One guy says, "Are we floating?" "I think we're floating." He looks out to see that he is being held by a Zeon mobile suit. They crush the armored vehicle. Zeon remnants are tired of using crypto and need some real cash, man. Also, what is the dollar pegged to in Universal Century? It can't be gold. My guess is Luna Titanium? A group of EFF forces gather at attention to Chief Mingle of the BGST team. They have been informed of a Zeon remnants attack on the bridge heading into Monte Boletto. They will head out to investigate and retrieve the money. But Mingle doesn't think he needs mobile suits for this operation. The BGST team meets up with the bridge blockade. The blockade finds the BGST team to be slobs. Usually, they send out 3 unguarded transport ships, 2 of which are decoys for the real one. But that plan didn't work this time, so they believe Zeon remnants have an informant in their ranks. Mingle asks how much. They tell them it was $10 million. Everyone's buttholes on the BGST team puckers real hard. They hate that Zeon is getting rich while they are getting downsized. They wonder where their mobile suits are, but Mangle says doesn't need them. Also, Mangle talks like Foghorn Leghorn. It's beautiful. He looks down off the bridge and says, "What in tarnation is a kid doing down there?" I'm not doing the voice. It is the boy with the katana. They tell the kid to climb back up and get out of here. Suddenly, a black Medea flies over them. 2 Titans members comes out to meet with Mingle. The two seem to know each other. They are effectively taking over the operation, and they demand that BGST hands over all their intel. Mingle's right-hand man instantly hands over the files. Mingle looks at him and says, "Really, dude? At least hand it over to him slowly. Show a little bit of resistance." But Titans members can hang soldiers on a whim. That certainly instills fear quite easily. The Titan dude flips his hair as awkwardly as possible. I will never get tired of all the weird and awkward artwork in all of Sono Yoshihiro's work. Mingle wonders if they plan on attacking Monte Boletto. The Titans say they are safe for now. Before walking away, the Titans member makes fun of Mingle, saying how the Great Katana unit has fallen so low. Their team was once feared as the Dagger of the Federation. A once elite group is now struggling to find relevancy in a post-war world run by the Titans. His team is now simply responsible for finding clues. Mingle thinks of the previous leader, Kanesada Tsurugi. He is struggling to live up to his command. He remembers that Kanesada had a son, and no one knows of his location. That is when the mysterious boy with the katana like your former commander comes over and tries to cheer him up. Mingle kicks him out of the crime scene again. No, let him get there on his own. It will click eventually. One of his men informs him that they found one of the downed armored vehicles heading away from Monte Boletto. He and half of the team goes to investigate while others hold back and continue forensics. One man named Yas is mad that he is being left behind, but the mysterious katana boy comes and cheers him up. Yas tries to kick him out. His full name is Banki Yaskovic. The kid looks at the downed trees in the crime scene. He says that Zeon remnants have a dom. Doms leave giant tracks behind them similar to Wappa's. He looks at Yas and tells him that it is time to become a hero. Underground, near Mingle's location, is an old century factory. One of Mingle's men is working with the bridge blockade. He is using a dom, making it appear like Zeon remnants. This BGST soldier is betraying his men in exchange for a vaccine of some sort. He also said this is something their old commander promised. They are about to kill the security men in the armored vehicle, but that is when Yas and the boys shine a light on them and tell them that the jig is up. The informant gets into the dom while the bridge blockade soldier runs away. He accidentally runs off to Mangle looking super sketchy. That is when the mysterious boy makes his appearance in the Striker Custom. The RGM-79 FC Striker Custom is the evolution to the Gem Striker. This mysterious unit has a Gundam head, but is not classified as a Gundam. The head houses the Demon Blade AI system. We will learn more about this, but it awakens latent new type powers using EEG waves. It could also use vibrating dust to function like a weapon. Other weapons include 60mm Vulcans, a beam saber, a 100mm machine gun, and 2 custom beam sabers that can form together to form a beam Naginata-like weapon. It also incorporates Zeon technologies into this upgrade and stores it on its new backpack. These weapons include the Spark Knuckle, which was created off of Heat Rod tech. and the bust knuckle created off of Zeon's chain mine tech. We will see a hooligan's favorite use this in the future. The Striker and Dom engage in battle. Yas thinks it is a Gundam, but Mangle realizes that it is just a Striker with a Gundam head. Like Amado Ray in the first episode of Gundam, the kid rips off the Zeon mobile suit's dangly bits. The Dom fires on the Striker, but the kid is able to dodge it. As it goes to attack with his beam saber, the Striker goes low and pulls out its custom beam saber and stabs the Dom. Mangle has seen this move before. It is one of their special techniques, lightning invincible. The BGST team arrests the two men. The kid says that earlier when he asked the man about the Dom, his butthole puckered and he took notice. The informant tells the kid that he did this because his son is sick and he was laid off from the military. He takes the vaccine and tells the informant that he will deliver it to his family. You sure you don't want to test that first? Yas is sad that his comrades are resorting to terrorism just to get by, and they may be next if Titans keep taking their jobs. Mangle demands to know who this kid is. The kid calls him Uncle Mangle and says that he is Ito Tsurugi. He is Kanasada's son, and he is now in command of this unit. He plans on fighting the corruption within EFF. A small Zeon remnant group is planning an operation on the outskirts of Milan. BGST stands for Blade of the Tsurugis. They were an elite anti-sabotage brigade that all of EFF once feared. But in UC 0084, economic disparity gave power to the corporations. The military was no different, as Jamatov Hyman's Titans were merely a tool to create disparity within the ranks of EFF. The best became Titans while others were forced to retire. Essentially like forcing a buyout in the corporate world. The BGST welcomes Ito as their new leader. He has his father's sword, which is one of two symbols of their brigade, the other being a long sword. Everyone bows in honor. Ito gets up and says, "Now that that's all done, it's time for some layoffs." He plans on retiring the BGST team as it is on the liquidation list. Everyone goes from happy to sad instantly. Later in the mess hall, Yas wonders why Ito didn't draw the proof of leadership longsword, and some don't think of him as a real commander. Everyone gets distracted by Miss Merrill in the lunchroom. Ito and Mangle talk to the base commander regarding Zeon remnants hiding out in Monte Boletto. It has become a holdout for the remnants, and they don't want to poke the hornet's nest. However, they have been doing small-scale raids. Ito believes that they are going after junior mobile suits, mainly used by sports. This area of Italy has junior mobile suit manufacturers that can compete with what is being made on the moon. So much so that an Anaheim Electronics subsidiary also has a business in Italy. The only intel they have is that these bases are next to a river and most likely are being attacked by amphibious mobile suits. Ito has an idea. They want to investigate a few factories in the area. They are actually on BGST's payroll, insinuating that they may have more men selling out EFF. That is when the two Titans approach Mangle and Ito. We learn that the tiny one is Captain Stonefield. I guess this is these two Titans members' role in this manga? They just roll up to Mangle and say, your team sucks, And then he makes this face and leaves. I don't get it, I don't understand it, but I love it. They head back to the team and inform them of the new operation. They aren't having it. Yas says that if he is the true commander, then he should be able to draw the longsword. Everyone watches intensely as he tries. Of course, he is unable to do so, but he doesn't really care about the sword. He leaves Mangle to plan the mission, and he calls the mission Operation River Como with Love, which is the name of the river adjacent to the factory. Yas, being an idiot, takes the mission name literally and asks Meryl out on a date during the mission. He and Meryl go out on his gun tank. They have a picnic where Yas tries to get Meryl to bite his Pocky. Ugh. I don't think I want Pocky anymore. Someone over the radio calls Yas an idiot for taking the mission name literally. They tell him to go to a new location. Meanwhile, the base commander Fellini is meeting with the Zeon remnants led by Lieutenant Junior Grade G. Goddard. He is the one betraying the BGST team. They are waiting for the next attack on the factory. An explosion goes off in the distance. The attack begins. That is when Yas and his gun tank stumble onto their meeting. Goddard thinks that EFF is betraying them, so he gets into his goof flight type. The MS-07H8 Goof Flight Type is the evolution of the Goof Flight Test Type and the Goof Custom. It has movable stabilizer wings on the backpack and waist armor, which greatly improves its ambac system while in the air. Only 3 were made, with the other 2 stationed at Genius Sahalin's base in Southeast Asia. Weapons include a triple 35mm Gatling gun, a Gatling shield with another 75mm Gatling gun attached, and a heat sword Type D3. Yas says, "Hey, Commander, why are you with Zeon?" Hey, why is there a goof here? Hey, why is this goof coming at me with a sword? People on BGST are a little slow. That is when Ito in the Striker Custom comes in. He had a hunch that the base commander was in on this. He let Mingle handle the operation because he knew people would let their guard down if Ito wasn't taking command. The two engage in battle. One of the base commanders, Jim, holds up the gun tank as a hostage. Ito plays around, but they tell him not to move or they will kill the gun tank pilot. Ito tells the goof to attack him. He won't even move from his spot. As the goof rushes in, Ito does the special technique, Cut Awakened. He ducks down and slices off the goof's arm. Mingle's team comes in because he saw the explosion. It appears it was a diversion to draw out Zeon, but Ito didn't expect them to use goof flight types. He assumed they were amphibious types. The Titan's captain comes over to BGST and mocks them once again and takes off. This time he doesn't do the weird hair flick. Come on, do the flick. Ito says that the Titans are right this time. They should be embarrassed that EFF is working with Zeon remnants under their noses. However, he pulls out the retirement agreement that has been issued to the BGST team. He also pulls out the Tsurugi longsword. He draws the sword and slices their retirement agreement in half. They are amazed that he is able to draw the sword. He is a Tsurugi. Mingle wonders how he was able to draw the sword. He lets him in on the little secret. There is a hidden lock on the katana. You have to twist it in a particular way to unlock it. It has nothing to do with strength. Other Zeon remnants are informed of Gotter's failure. Gotter has been referring to himself as a snake throughout this chapter. These other remnants say that next time, BGST will have to take on the spider. A man named Richard is lost after the death of Kanesada Tsurugi. They are suddenly attacked. The town of Monte Boletto has been in a stalemate with Milan EFF forces since the end of the war. This has changed since the intervention of the BGST team and the Titans. They are about to clean house. A man in a suit comes looking for Ito. This is Richard Grayson. Yas knows this name. It is friend of former commander and the Federation Ministry of Commerce and Industry chairman who was a secret sponsor to the BGST team. Yas is snooping on their conversation when Mingle notices Richard. He joins in on the snooping. Miss Merrill serves Richard and Ito tea. Mingle and Yas wants to know what Merrill heard, but she didn't hear anything. Miss Merrill now joins in on the snooping. It seems Ito and Richard's meeting is over. They notice that Ito is angry over their conversation. Meanwhile, Stonefield and the Titans launch a squad of Gundam Marine types led by Morgan Barge. The BGST team gets in formation. Ito tells them that the Titans are moving on Monte Boletto and they are trying to take all the glory. The Titans are going in with full force, but their objective is to find the commander of Monte Boletto. They move out. At Monte Boletto, the Zeon commander is ready to show their strength to the Federation. He sends out Shuki. We'll figure it out eventually. For now, we'll be formal and call her Chief Petty Officer O'Connell. She heads out. GM Quails are taking on the base directly. Stonefield is confident that this mission will go his way and decides to eat. He is in a hover truck. Before taking a bite, he is informed that they lost contact with the Gundam Marine types and the ground units. They are taken out by a Zaku 2 Kai. The MS-06FZ Zaku 2 Kai is a renovation of the Zaku F2 type. The armor is strengthened and its armaments all redesigned so it does not fall behind the GMs. The cockpit was improved greatly to a point that rookie pilots can handle it with ease. I'm looking at you, Keith. This particular unit has the typical Zaku style head, but these units also use the B-type or Fritz helmet. Its German-inspired looks isn't just aesthetics. The lip was designed to allow pilots to pop open the hood if their unit was downed. It can be equipped with a Sturmfaust, a Heat Hawk, a Heat Sword, a Zaku Bazooka, a 120mm machine gun, hand grenades, and a shoulder shield. The Fritz Helm version of this unit was piloted by Bernie in War in the Pocket, as well as the Capital Defense Brigade units in the plot to assassinate Giran. Two GMs go in, but they are taken out by the Zaku's Heat Hawk. The Zaku shows EFF the power of the deadly green spider. Before attacking Stonefield's hover truck, the Striker steps in. He tells Stonefield to get out of here if he values his life. He begrudgingly listens. Stonefield says that the Titans never run from a fight. He then proceeds to run from a fight. The Zaku proceeds to throw its Heat Hawks. It is as if she is throwing 6 at a time. Yas thinks that she is a new type. She tells Ito to leave, but he refuses. They're taking this land back, and Zeon will surrender today. They engage in melee combat. Yas notices explosions going off and thinks it is a minefield. The Zaku Kai throws its Heat Hawk again. The Striker deflects them when they head into the woods, taking out 2 other Zakus in hiding. Ito tells Yas that this isn't a new type. It's just 3 mobile suits pretending to be one, while everyone is focused on the Zaku Kai. The Zakus hiding in the forest mimic the attack. O'Connell says she must protect her stepfather. Ito wonders who she is talking about. She throws her Heat Hawks, pushing the Striker back. He accidentally steps on one of the landmines. An explosion erupts. Out of the smoke comes the Striker Custom stripped of its armor. He is also able to walk on the minefield without setting off the mines. The two rush towards each other. Ito uses the burst knuckle and explodes the left half of the Zaku. The Striker Custom's reactive armor is different from the original Striker. After impact, it explodes like typical reactive armor, but then it will shed. Once it sheds and hits the ground, it activates a secondary explosion, which helps take out the mines around the mobile suit. This seems like it would be a huge margin of error, but it's perfect anime logic. Ito attacks with the spark knuckle and knocks out CPO O'Connell. Yas notices that Ito is angry like he was earlier talking to Richard. They head out and notice a graveyard of Zakus. This wasn't done by the Titans. They notice a gym custom with the pilot looking out of its cockpit. Ito wants to know who the soldier is as he doesn't look like a Titan. That is when 3 more Zakus pop out. They begin attacking EFF. The gym custom cuts through the remaining Zakus with ease. The gym custom pilot has been looking for Ito. He says that he is coming with him. Back with Mingle and the rest of the BGST team, they have O'Connell as a prisoner. They are suddenly attacked, and O'Connell makes her escape towards the down Zaku that still seems to work. She says she is coming, Daddy. So anyways, back with Ito, he demands the soldier state his rank and affiliation. That is when he begins attacking Ito. They play a cat and mouse game with each other before Ito realizes all the death and destruction around them. They were supposed to secure the enemy, not kill them. What are they trying to cover up? They are at the doorsteps of the enemy. The base commander watches. The gym custom pilot tells him to come with him and learn about True Federal. The BGSD team is merely child's play compared to what they do. Within 3 years, True Federal plans on completely overhauling the Federation into something brand new. The gym custom pilot says that Ito has been chosen by Lord Spada. That is when O'Connell and the damaged Zaku Kai shows up. The base commander tells her to get out of here. The GM custom goes to kill the base commander, but O'Connell stops him. That is when Ito steps in. Since he and this True Federal claims to be changing EFF, he is arresting him for being a terrorist. The two begin fighting. He uses his custom beam saber and attaches the two, creating what is similar to a beam naginata. Also, this whole time, Yas is just watching and commenting instead of actually helping out. This seems to be a running thing with him. Ito slices off the gym custom's arm and head. The True Federal soldier makes his escape. He says they will meet again in space. As he escapes, Mingle and the rest of the BGST team meet up with Yas and Ito. They swept around the base, and Monte Boletto is secure. Everyone is happy that the mission was a success, but Ito says it was a failure. They did not capture the base commander, and there is a group working in the shadows trying to recruit him. He takes Richard Grayson up on his deal that they discussed earlier. The team wonders what the conversation was about. He tells the BGST team that they are heading into space. They have to cancel their war games with the Nemesis team. War games between Nemesis and BGST would be an interesting one-shot. Most of the team seems to not have any zero-G training. Ito tells Richard that he is going along with his plan, but he tells him to never talk about his father in front of him. He hates his father and would have killed him with his own hands if given the chance. O'Connell is the lone survivor of Monte Boletto. Meanwhile, on the moon, a Pegasus-class ship is offloading G-parts, including a Gundam head. The BGSD team are showing off the new Gym 2s. Ito gets in one and shows off a little bit. Everyone wants him to show off shooting one of the weapons, but he runs away claiming he needs to do paperwork. Yas mentions he never actually seen Ito fire a gun. He has just used melee weapons thus far. Mangle is stressed with all the work they have to do before leaving. That is when he notices Ito doing some target practice with some cans. He doesn't hit a single one. Yas heads into town to get some snacks, during which he opens his dumb mouth. Ito wonders if they could add one more to the list of people to take into space. Stonefield is embarrassed that BGST took all the glory, so they are going to go full fascist on Milan just to annoy BGST. That's some Flay Alistair energy right there. The same store that Yas went to get some snacks, so too do the Titans, who begin smashing up their business for selling to Zeon. Stonefield heads to the BGST base, where he demands that they hand over the Monte Boletto prisoner. Stonefield doesn't know that Ito is the new commander. He pretends that Commander Tsurugi is out and he is acting in his name. He wants to talk to Mingle. Meanwhile, O'Connell has a tiny shank hidden in her mouth. She captures Miss Merrill when she brought the prisoner food. Yas was an idiot and yapped his mouth to the store clerk about the prisoner. Mingle comes over and tells Stonefield they don't have a prisoner and to leave. That is when Yas comes running over, yelling that the prisoner has escaped. You suck, Yas. They They begin searching the base. They have to find them before the Titans do. Ito takes a car. O'Connell and Meryl disguise themselves as schoolgirls, and they head back to Monte Boletto. She wants to find a way back to space now that she has lost her stepfather. That is when a gang of Wappas come over and casually try to traffic some children. As they go for the girls, Ito in a jeep comes over and runs over the gang's Wappas. He gets out and fights the men. One man remains, and he points a gun at him. He tells the gang member to get a real job. As his back is turned, he goes to attack Ito, but he uses his sword to take him down. You know, it's not like I want to see a child overcome his gun skills and kill a man, but I kinda was expecting a kid to learn his lesson and kill this man. Oh well. He tells a gang member that he could find a job if he put his heart into it and not be picky. He lets the man go. That man went on to put his heart in it by creating the biggest child trafficking ring in Italy. Oh well, not their problem anymore. They're going to space. Ito knew she was coming here because it is the only port to Corsica, which is the only way to get to the moon. He knows that is the prisoner's home. Ito says he will take her there, but he wants her to be a spy. She refuses. However, he doesn't want her to spy on Zeon remnants. They will handle that. He wants her to spy on True Federal. That way she could avenge her stepfather without hurting her own people. She agrees to join BGST. Some of the BGST team are staying in Italy to ensure that the Titans don't harass the citizens. If they were all to leave, the Titans would destroy Milan. The citizens and business owners of Milan wish the BGST team a safe journey. Mingle calls the Titans and says, "I'm going on a business trip for 3 days, bye." The Titans rush towards the Milan base, but the shuttle has already made its departure. Throughout the past few issues, Yas has really been hung up on how people in space poop. Once the shuttle hits 0G, the first thing Yas thinks to do is to go take a poop. Priorities. They make it to Granada and head through customs. Also going through customs at the same time is an EFF soldier named Quattro Begina. In Granada, someone is informed that Shar Aznable is back. Ito tells Mingle to get a hold of Richard immediately. He wants to get things going. Behind the two is Quattro. The BGST team is amazed by how big the city is. Some are amazed by the lack of sky. Remember, the moon is tidally locked with Earth, meaning we only see one side of the moon ever. Von Braun is built on the bright side of the moon that could see Earth. Granada, however, is on the dark side of the moon. The city is always facing side 3. Which Granada helped build. It is the only colony beyond the moon, which is why they are more sympathetic to the Principality of Zeon. Even now, post-war, as a republic, this relationship with Granada continues, even though it is under EFF control now. Granada is now a camping grounds for many Zeon remnants. In other words, they need to be on guard. As they walk through the city, Yas yells, "Oh my god, they have a McDaniels here." He wants to try the regional lunar teriyaki burger. I know 2 guys who spend way too much money at McDaniels. Mingle tells Yas to control himself. O'Connell notes that this place has changed a lot since she was here. A man sneaks around in the alleys of Granada wondering if Shar Aznable has really come back to the moon. Later, the BGST team runs 0G training exercises. Everyone is struggling to properly utilize the AMBAC system. They are progressing slowly, but they are progressing. Mingle asks why they are really here on the moon. Richard tells them that this place has become a feeding ground for Zeon remnants. This is because of the rumors that Shar Aznable is coming to Granada. They want BGST to investigate the truth of these rumors before local EFF enforcements get involved. He leaves it to Mingle, and Ito says that he has a date with a girl. O'Connell is working with Ito and meets her old friend Pamela. Her friend essentially says, "Man, it sucks you got left on Earth. I've been doing great since we surrendered." She tells O'Connell that Commander Shar has made his return. That is when Ito crashes their reunion. He introduces himself as Ichiro Tanaka, and Pamela assumes it is her boyfriend. This causes her to leave. Ito says it seems Zeon has split. The old Mobile Suit Assault Force makes up Caecilia's faction. Giran loyalists represent the Giran faction, and there are still some that preach the ideals of Contolism who make up the Daikun faction. Ito believes that one powerful voice can unify these factions into one. This most likely is why Shar is here. Ito wonders who Pamela is. O'Connell tells them that they were born on Side 3, but both grew up here in Granada. Her father was a researcher for the Flanagan Institute. Pamela visits her father, Dr. Henry, who was the man at the beginning of this chapter. He says that their days of hiding are numbered. They look up to a mysterious mobile armor. O'Connell and Ito learn that Zeon remnants have been planning something since the end of the war. They think that if Shar is here, he will contact the Flanagan Institute as he was a part of Caecilia's faction and the Flanagan Institute was under her control. Ito wants to sneak into Pamela's house. He needs O'Connell to distract her. She asks Ito once again that this isn't some trap to get her to betray Zeon. He also once again reminds her that BGST team doesn't need her help with Zeon, just True Federal. Ito sneaks into their house to find that Pamela's dad, Dr. Henry, was the source of the rumor of Shar and that he will make a declaration unifying Zeon soon. Ito makes this face. That is when Pamela comes rushing out yelling that Char is going to make a declaration to the world soon, making Ito's spy mission pointless. Good job. Later, Char sends a message to the world telling all Zeon remnants to meet at certain coordinates near Granada. Zeon remnants gathering in one place is certainly a good opportunity for BGST team to arrest all of the Zeon remnants. O'Connell says, "You lying son of a bitch." A giant show of Zeon remnants show up to the coordinates. Dr. Henry pilots the Gromlin. The Man 05 Gromlin is a heavy mobile armor originally designed for anti-ship combat. It made its first appearance in SD Gundam G Generation. When the war ended, the Gromlin was still under development. Its data and related documents were erased to keep the machine in secret. It also has the ability to use its leg and sensor head as a wired attack terminals. Why make a leg a wired anchor leg in a space environment is beyond me and just raises questions as to why the designer chose this as their weapon to bring Zeon back to glory. The giant wheel with one leg. This is also a new type machine, but there is no data on whether or not Dr. Henry is a new type. Other weapons include a wired beam head cannon, a variable megaparticle gun, and anti-aircraft megaparticle guns. Nothing but silence. They think it is all a ruse. That is when Ito, in the Striker Custom, makes his appearance. He tells the Zeon remnants that he tricked them, and he was the one who sent out the message pretending to be Char. He did it not to trick them, but to flesh out someone involved in Operation Tall Fed. He saw this while looking at Dr. Henry and Pamela's terminal earlier. Ito believes that someone in their ranks are working against the Zeon remnants' goals. Ito believes that this Tall Fed is actually true federal, and someone is trying to sell off the Zeon remnant army to them. Dr. Henry finds this all absurd. Of course, Ito knows that it is Dr. Henry himself working with True Federal and selling out his own men. This causes Dr. Henry to panic. Pamela asks her father if this is true. Ito is definitely certain that it is him now. The Gromlin begins attacking Ito's Striker. He begins attacking anyone who gets in his way. In the distance, a red Gundam makes its appearance on the battlefield. The BGSD team begins attacking the mobile armor. Dr. Henry wants to destroy Granada and start anew under Caecilia's honor. Granada begins evacuating the city. Paul Mercury, who is clearly just Freddie Mercury, with the chest out and everything, is the commander of a ball unit. He whips his balls out and helps the BGSD team. This guy also likes to snap his fingers. Everything he says is a quip about making things snappy and doing things in a snap. It gets old real quick. The Gromlin fires, taking out Ito's thrusters. The Striker jumps on top of the mobile armor. The mobile armor fires its megaparticle cannon at Yas. Ito and the Striker jumps in front of him. He spins his custom dual beam saber and dissipates the beam, saving Yas. The Gromlin begins crashing into Granada. The Striker holds back the mobile armor like that one famous Spider-Man issue. Ito's Striker is at its limits. Dr. Henry goes mad and takes out his own daughter Zaku. That is when a rocket cannon attacks and destroys the mobile armor. It is the Red Gundam, the Full Armor Alex. The FA-78 NT-1 Full Armor Alex is created based off of the original draft of the SFWS plan. Many compromises were made in the original design. However, the Full Armor Gundam's missile bays in the knees and auxiliary propulsion units on the side of the legs have been omitted in this version. This was made simultaneously with the Shoban armor of the original Alex. It is equipped with 60mm Vulcan guns, a 360mm rocket cannon, a missile bay built into the chest, a 90mm Gatling gun, the twin beam rifle, a shield, and a beam saber. It is Cortez, the true federal pilot that Ito ran into on Earth. Dr. Henry is still alive somehow. He notes that this is the new type Gundam built in secret and perfected. O'Connell is piloting the draw seat and attacks the Gundam, but does minimal damage. The Striker and the Gundam engage in melee combat. The Striker runs out of power, however. True Federal sends a message to the people of Granada claiming that they are the ones who saved them. They seem to be setting up Ito's team while also taking the glory of BGST. They will rebuild a new federation under the leader Spada. Quattro Begina is listening to his broadcast. Also listening is Eddie of the Nemesis team. Cortez tells Ito to come to True Federal and make his leave. The people seem to have bought into the propaganda of True Federal. They began a mob around EFF. Okana realizes True Federal turned her own people against their own ideals. Her friends are all dead, and the people of Granada seemed lost. She will get a revenge on True Federal. Ito tried his typical gotcha method of solving his problems and ended up getting Zeon killed. He betrayed O'Connell's trust, and it is all his responsibility. Looking at the damage at Granada is Yuji Arcana. Ito asks Mingle what he should do in moments like this. Mingle doesn't say anything. He just drops a wakizashi in front of him. Ito pulls out the dagger and tries to commit harikiri. Mingo goes, "No, you idiot, I'm trying to make a point." He backhands Ito across the face in good old bright fashion. He tells Ito that he lacks benevolence, which is something a leader must have. Mingo says that he is nothing like Kanesada and has much to learn. O'Connell overhears this conversation. The full armor Alex lands on a Pegasus-class ship. On board, true Federal members gather around Lord Spada, who is clearly a Darth Vader ripoff. Cortez is praised for his actions, but his mission of getting Ito on their side is still his primary mission. Cortez doesn't understand why Ito is so important. Standing by Cortez happens to be Major Saki Desao of the Nemesis team. Back at Granada, the BGST team are monitoring the Pegasus-class ship. EFF higher-ups won't let them pursue, and they aren't really hiding themselves. They try to get its identification number to try to expose them. The BGST team still struggles to adapt to space combat. Paul Mercury watches them struggle. Yas asks Paul if he could train them for space battle. He says he will consider it. O'Connell goes to check on Ito, only to find him trying to seppuku himself once again. She stops him and suggests maybe he try delegating orders and stop bearing the burden for everything. That is when an explosion goes off. The Pegasus-class ship fired above the dock. They demand that they hand over Ito to True Federal. He wants to hand himself over to end this. Yas decides to go out in Ito's striker custom to protect his commander. That idiot has a great heart, but he is going to die. They need to send someone to help him. That is when Quattro Bagina runs into Ito. He wonders if the striker is a Gundam, but he tells him that it is just a Gundam head to resemble the hero of the 1 Year War. But he is no Amado Ray. Quattro tells him he doesn't have to be another Amado Ray. A person can only do what he must in the moment. This reinvigorates Ito, and he no longer wants to kill himself. Lord Spada demands that they bring him Ito. He is rocking a similar mask to a familiar man in an iron mask from the future. On the Pegasus-class ship, Eddie and Yuji launch. Yuji is in a GM Striker Kai. Yas approaches Yuji in a modified Gem Striker. This is his Gem Striker that we know and love from Hooligans, but it is modified for space use. This seems exactly like the Gem Striker Kai, which is in GBO2. Yas tries to lose the Striker, but it is fast. A beam blast comes out of nowhere. It is Jean in the Gem Sniper 2. Yas pulls out a gun, but Yuji knocks it out of his hand. Yuji doesn't slow down from Yas's attack due to his reactive armor. Lord Spada and Saki are on the bridge of the Pegasus. Lord Spada praises Yuji and Saki's team. After the 1 Year War, the Nemesis team was disbanded. Saki went back to Jaburo, but Yuji and his comrades were forced to take jobs that don't help the people. When Saki found him again, he was resorting to gambling. He realizes that Ito isn't the one in the Striker. It is a fake, so they decide to kill him. Before Yuji can make a move, an explosion goes off. It is a ball. Ito is piloting with Paul Mercury cramped in the back. Paul Mercury gives me a lot of Armstrong and Full Metal Alchemist vibes. Paul takes control and does the attack weasel whirlwind gay style. What makes it gay style? Guys, is it gay if you spin your balls? Ito jumps out of the ball and floats towards the Striker custom. Yas apologizes for not living up to Ito's skills, but he tells Yas that he needs to be able to protect his people like Yas was willing to do. Yas heads towards the ball while Paul equips the new knuckle daggers on the Strikers. These are Tonfa beam blades that attach to the forearms. Ito begins attacking Yuji. He knows of the exploits of the Nemesis Instructor Corps and says they once exposed corruption. Now they work with the terrorists True Federal. He wants to know why. The two continue engaging in melee combat. Yuji whips out his twin beam spear. Yas and Mercury attack the full armor Alex. Cortez is annoyed and attacks the ball. Ito thinks Yas and Mercury are dead. He is distracted and Yuji goes in for the attack. Ito is now on the defensive. The two are going toe-to-toe with one another. Both are at their limits. Yuji has to resort to tackling Ito, knocking him out. Yuji tries to capture him and take him back to Lord Spada, but Cortez wants to kill him. The Striker Custom's eyes now glow red. The full armor Gundam unloads shell rounds on the Striker. Ito is able to cut the shells in half. The Striker throws the knuckle dagger and uses it like a boomerang. Lord Spada wonders where he hid it. Now Yuji is on the defensive. He then takes the knuckle daggers and puts it on the Striker's feet. He does some sweet breakdance fighting and uses the knuckle daggers like skates. The Striker goes in and attacks Yuji's Striker with a beam saber. It gets close to almost penetrating penetrating the cockpit and killing Yuji. Both strikers are dead in the water. Others swiftly move in to capture Ito. Jean wonders how that kid handled all those G's as he was moving so fast. Yuji says that he was most likely passed out, meaning the mobile suit moved on its own. Lord Spada walks in wanting to take him. They're confused as his heart is giving out and he needs medical attention. That is when Ito wakes up and tries to kill Lord Spada with his sword. Meanwhile, the captain of the Temptation, Bright Noah, is currently being held in a hangar due to the attack on Granada. Mercury makes eye contact with Hawk. The two seem to know one another. Ito wakes up from an empty room. Suddenly, an announcer and ring babes come bursting into the room doing the Spada Samba while announcing Lord Spada's entrance. The Spada girls will soon be on Federation's Got Talent. This isn't a joke, this is a line of dialogue, and this show exists. Ito says, okay, I'm done with all this, and begins attacking, but Cortez puts a stop to it. They go to a different room to discuss matters further. Once corruption within the Federation stops, most of the power will be from the Space Noids. Ito doesn't care, he just wants to know why he wants him. Lord Spada says that he needs to learn benevolence as a leader, and he will be the one who will teach him. He wants to make him the most powerful new type. Cortez tells Lord Spada that nothing works on this guy. As Cortez pokes and prods, Ito grabs him and flips him. He holds Cortez as a hostage, and the two run through the Spada girl's changing room. Nice. He tries to get a message out, but they cut off his comms. They look out to realize he isn't on a Pegasus, but rather they are on a space station. Saki is mad at the installation of an AI system in the Striker. Captain Silver of True Federal doesn't seem to care about anyone from the Nemesis team besides Yuji. He has undergone cyber new type enhancements and brainwashing. An explosion goes off. A man looking like a Yakuza stereotype holding a rocket launcher comes in. This is Borino, also known as the Executioner. Mangle and the BGST team receive the small snippet Ito sent out before being cut off. They head out to find their commander. Ito has cut the power and prevented the security forces from communicating with one another. He attacks a security detail and heads for a Striker custom. As he activates the mobile suit, he runs into Yuji, who is now in a black Striker custom of his own. This is most likely his gym Striker with a new Gundam head added. This means it has the same system that Ito's Striker has. Captain Silver and a security detail surround Saki and the Nemesis team. Log files over the past 3 months show that they have been accessing True Federal data and covering up their tracks. It appears they are only feigning allegiance to Lord Spada. Before Captain Silver could do anything, Yuji and Ito come crashing through the corridor. Like last time, Ito asks Yuji why he is doing this. He simply says Lord Spada's orders. Lord Spada says to activate the Demon Blade. Yuji's AI system activates, and the eyes turn red. The Striker just tells him to destroy the Gundam over and over again. Saki realizes that Yuji is much faster. He wonders if he undergone enhancements. Ito tells of a story about being excited about meeting Yuji as the other pilot selected for the Striker program. But the day came and Yuji never showed up. It seems he was already a part of True Federal by then. Ito misjudged him. His Striker unit seems to be resonating with Yuki's Striker. As the two punch each other, Ito sees the Shamaran incident. We see the end of Hooligans when Yuji is shot and Martin Shamaran, who we knew as Tara, is trying to help him. Yuji goes to visit him in prison, where he tells Martin that civil war is breaking out. Yuji goes out scouting when they investigate a house with a little girl. Yuji doesn't know if he shot first or his comrade shot first, as his memory is spotty, but he was once again shot and the family is mowed down. He goes to visit Martin again to find that he has been executed. Even now, Yuji still refers to his friend as Tara. He is now dead along with the little girl and her family. EFF is no longer protecting the people. Ito tells him that he must fight to make a change within himself. Yuji's eyes go back to normal. He snaps out of it. Ito tells Yuji that they should get out of there, but that is when they run into a giant mobile armor. This is the mass production Big Zam. The MA-09 mass production type Big Zam isn't a stripped down version of the Big Zam. This is a complete redesign that is way smaller at 28.8 meters, where Big Zam was 59.6 meters. This was supposed to be used during the attack on Jaburo during the 1-year war, but it never came to be. It seems True Federal has picked up where Xeon left off. This version lowers production costs by removing the eye field and slapping on some anti-beam coating and hoping for the best. One big improvement is the large megaparticle cannon. The Big Zam had to be stationary to fire, except for in Origin, but let's ignore that. This version has extra cooling, allowing it to move while firing. It is also equipped with a Minovsky craft system. Other weapons include 4 missiles per leg and 6 anti-air missile launchers. Saki and the rest of the Nemesis Nemesis team made their escape on a shuttle. Yuji is able to take out the Big Zam, but that is when they are surrounded by two more, along with Cortez and his full armor Alex. They all fire their mega particle cannons, destroying everything around them. Yuji tells Cortez that the cyber new type enhancements are messing with his head and to come with him. The two fight. Cortez takes out Yuji's arm, but he is able to take out Alex. But that is when Burrino sets a trap and captures Yuji. He tells Ito to come with them or they will kill Yuji. Captain Silver gets an SOS from Bright's shuttle, the Temptation. He thinks that helping out the hero of the 1 Year War and the Great Slapper would look good on his record. He allows him to land. However, he goes against their landing clearance. On the Temptation is the BGST team ready to arrest True Federal and take over the base. Ito is surprised to see Yas and the rest of the BGST team. Saki and Hawk are working with Mangle to help get the BGST to the gravity block. While this is happening, the two strikers do some striking. Ito engages with Cortez. Captain Silver of True Federal can't seem to figure out why Bright would get himself involved in this situation. We cut to Bright yelling at BGST, saying, "You assholes lied to me to get me here. Now I'm an accomplice to whatever this is. I'm not helping you anymore." Of course, BGST would screw over Bright. Mangle thanks Bright for all he has done so far, and they move out. Cortez tells Ito to draw his demon blade. He doesn't know what Cortez is talking about, and wonders if he is referring to what happened to the mobile suit when he passed out. Cortez begins coughing and panicking, while shoveling down pills. He becomes sluggish. Ito wonders if he is a cyber new type. He goes on about how much he loves Lord Spada. Just suck his dick already. The two go in for one final blow. Ito goes low and takes out the full armor Alex. Meanwhile, someone gets a hit on the Temptation. The left engine was hit and it won't fly anymore. There goes Bright's ship. Poor guy. Mangle looks over at True Federal's Pegasus-class ship and says, "Screw it, we're taking this. That guy over there was the captain of one of these ships. Look, we even have a few engineers. If Bright could run this ship with children, he could do it with actual officers. Let's do this." I love the energy of this manga. Mangle starts taking command, but Bright says, "Get out of here, I got this." The base is under control of BGST. Things are looking up. Ito tells Yuji to come with him. As the two take their leave, a mobile suit slices through Yuji's striker, taking out the arm. It is a blue Domel. The MS-19 Domel is a Principality of Xeon prototype mobile suit that was developed in secret at Abawaku. There's very little information about this mobile suit, but it debuted in Mobile Suit Gundam EX Review. It is equipped with the multi-launcher on both arms, 2 shoulder missile pods, 2 chest missile pods, heated spikes on both shoulders, and a toe beam, which is the equivalent to having a knife in your boot. We flash back to UC-0084, somewhere in Southeast Asia. Yuji is in the middle of a boxing match. After the chaos of Nemesis, he went back to boxing. After the match, the underground boxing ring is raided by Saki. He was looking for Yuji. He tells him to pack his bags. He doesn't want to go, but Saki tells him boxing at an underground gambling ring isn't really the life to live. Albeit, he has been keeping in shape. He must have done it knowing a day like this would come. Saki eventually convinces him, and he and the instructor corps head into space. This is Yuji's first time into space. Soon the team starts running training exercises with True Federal. Yuji notes that Lord Spada is dangerous. Lord Spada seemed to have given him a new type flash. They're using GM Quells to run exercises. Cortez is a part of this team. Yuji tells Eddie that something is off about these guys. Saki is plotting something, but he'd rather not know any details. After Cortez upgraded to the full armor Gundam, the instructor corps begins losing. They begin experimenting on Yuji with cyber new type enhancements. Even while going through cyber new type enhancements, Yuji just trusts in Saki and hopes for the best. Yuji wakes up. He was passed out after being attacked by the Domo. Ito assumes this is Lord Spada in the mobile suit. Cortez begins praising Lord Spada like the suck-up he is. But the masked man says that Cortez is now useless to him. Mad, Cortez goes to attack, but Lord Spada does the infinite lightning attack. As Ito attacks Lord Spada, Mangle believes that he is the late Kanasada. Mangle tells Ito to withdraw. True Federal's mobile suits surround Ito and begin firing. That is when the Super Demon Blade system is activated. The striker begins tearing through gems. Even with the Demon Blade activated, Mangle thinks that he doesn't stand a chance against Kanasada. Both do the attack slicing arm palm counter technique. The Domo slices off the striker's head. Lord Spada says that like the exam system, the Demon Blade system is in the head. The BGST team uses the Pegasus-class ship's beam cannon on the Domo, but Lord Spada spins the beam saber, dissipating the beam blast, just like Ito did in the past. The Domo then uses the secret technique Steel Foot Hurricane. Paul Mercury and Yas hop in balls and fight against True Federal. Hawk Reuser is in a gym trainer. The two balls attach to the shoulders of the gym, creating the Gym Juggler. The RGM-79 ARA Gym Juggler is EFF's attempt at catching up to Zeon's new type research. Seikomu Tech is very new to the Federation, so they used balls as their versions of remote bits. The gym is based on the Gym Trainer, which has an extra seat for the gunner to control the remote-controlled balls. The balls give the gym 4 extra beam cannons. Since the Federation gained control of Zeon new type research, the Gym Trainer fell to the wayside post-1-year war. This is meant for new types, but in this case, 3 old type pilots are controlling it. They tell Mangle to get Ito out of here. They get him on the Pegasus class. Mangle asks why Kanesada is Lord Spada. He responds by stabbing and killing Mangle. Earlier, Mangle left the Pegasus class ship, and he isn't in the Temptation or a gym, so I have no idea what he just died in. Bright launches the Pegasus class ship. Lord Spada and True Federal follow them in the Kaiser of Dragons. The Kaiser of Dragons is a giant battleship designed by the Principality of Zeon and now used by True Federal. It is bigger than the Guazin, but it doesn't have the firepower of one. However, this giant ship can transform into a dragon. It has a Minovsky craft system for atmospheric flight. Weapons include 2 triple megaparticle cannons and 10 260mm triple cannons. In the hangar of the Pegasus, which by the way, True Federal referred to this as Trojan Horse 3, which was a term specifically used by Zeon. So True Federal has a Zeon lean to it. The team tries to get Ito out of the cockpit, but the hatch is stuck. Yas wants to pry it open, but the ship suddenly gets hit. Bright says, "Why didn't you mention the ship approaching? Maybe a bunch of children are more competent than the BGST team." More missiles hit the port side of the ship. Yas, Paul, and Hawk get into the Gym Juggler. The ship heads into a debris field. The helmsman can't pilot the ship properly and the Kaiser is on their tail. They have to abandon ship. They will spread Minovsky particles in the debris field and begin shuttling people to the Temptation that is being towed. A meteor hits the bridge, taking out the helmsman. Bright and the remaining BGST team makes their escape. They still haven't been able to open the striker hatch and save Ito. Yas breaks off from the juggler and heads back to the Pegasus. He tells everyone to leave the ship. If he can't get Ito out, he is going to fly the ship and evade the Kaiser. The Temptation breaks off as the Kaiser sends out 12 Ogos in their direction. We go into details about the Ogo during our coverage of Igloo Apocalypse, but essentially these are Zeon versions of the ball. Paul Mercury does a Black Turtle of the North secret technique and takes out some Ogos. Yas has been referring to Paul as master since he asked him for training, but Paul tells him to stop. He also mentions that he was once a racer who used to outrun the cops back in Italy. He maneuvers between the asteroids. 2 Ogos are left. Yas tries to outrun 2 asteroids that are converging to crush the ship. Thrusters are at full blast. He crash lands the ship on one of the big meteors. On the asteroid, a mono eye pops up, which is supposed to be menacing, I think, but it made me laugh. We flash back to the days of Kanesada in command of the BGSD team. He is on his way to Compay Island, formerly Solomon. One person tagging along with Kanesada is a man named Borino. Mangle is left in charge while he is gone. He reminds the team that one day the commander's son will take charge. Yas wakes up to an old man giving him food. He has been passed out for 3 days. He wonders where he is. It seems he landed on a resource mining asteroid. Like Luna 2, there are several giant asteroids orbiting Earth that are used for mining resources. This is Harmony 1. They take Yas to Paul and Cortez, who are watching over a very unresponsive Ito. Oh no, did he Camille himself? Cortez says it was the demon blade that consumed him. Yas demands he elaborates. After the magnetic coating became a thing, it became harder for EFF to find enough Amados to pilot their mobile suits. So they started creating cyber new types. Lord Spada's goal was to make a telepathic AI, an AI that absorbs the human mind. He believes that the striker's head, which houses the demon blade system, absorbed Ito's consciousness. When Spada sliced and took Ito's head, he took Ito with him. Yas finds it hard to believe. The Kaiser of Dragons just crashes into the asteroid. They unleash Ogos on Harmony 1. The workers have Recon Zakus on the asteroid, but they have no weapons as they are used as mobile workers. Yas wants Cortez to be their third juggler to juggle it up. He doesn't want to help them, but Yas reminds Cortez that True Federal threw him away, and he wonders if he wants revenge for what they did to him. There is also a tiny person like Yas on Harmony 1's team. He has been making fun of Yas for being short, despite his size problem. While no one is looking, he gets into an AG and fights against the Ogos, while Yas and the others argue over juggling. The AGs are used for drilling on the asteroid, and are probably the only weapons on a mobile suit currently. The short Harmony 1 worker goes into action. The tiny miner that got into the AG attacks the Ogos. He is struggling to remember some of the controls. While the AG is attacked, Cortez finally helps Yas and Paul with the gem juggler. However, Cortez is struggling to juggle those balls. They aren't working together as a team. One member on board the Kaiser is Borino, the one who left with Kanesada to Compay Island. Yas recognizes Borino and wonders how he is still alive and why he is fighting with the madmen True Federal. He tells him that the boss created these madmen. In UC 0083, the military carried out a massive naval review. Of course, we know this incident as the nuke that Gato set off, destroying the naval review in the process. The truth is that only half the fleet was destroyed, but they were listed as MIA. He says that it is thanks to a certain incident. Borino tells Yas to come with him. BGST will fall as True Federal rises up. Cortez tries to say something, but Borino says, "Shut up, Cortez, you've been cast out already." He says that the lost numbers have been completed. This makes Cortez's eyes widen. We flash back to Yas when he was still in a biker gang in Italy. He crashes his bike into another mobster who tries to escalate the situation. That is when Borino and the BGST team comes in and beats up the mobster. He tells Yas that he should join the BGST team, but he is not following him anymore. Yas bobs and weaves his balls through the Ogos. They try to ram his balls, but Paul comes in with his balls to block the Ogo. I just realized the Ogos look like penises. It's a cock and ball fight. Paul has been rejecting Yas, calling him master. But if he is able to master this one technique, he will take him on as his pupil. The two go into action. Yas was brought into BGSD by Borino, but now he has a new goal. He has to protect Ito. Yas does the secret technique, head spin. Oh my god, this image frightens me. The Kaiser bites Paul's balls, but he is fine. They begin making their retreat. Yas apologizes to the old man that helped for all the trouble they brought to Harmony 1. The old man says that he has a lot to learn before they take down Lord Spada. He wonders how the old man knows who he is. Cortez, Paul, and Yas follow the old man. They roll out an injured Ito on a stretcher. He is in need of serious medical attention. The old man tells them that Lord Spada came here a while back. They take Cortez as prisoner. Yas demands to know what is going on. He takes Cortez and tells him that they were able to restrain a cyber new type easily, which means he is coming down. They administer a drug called Astomarellian, something used on cyber new types. Cortez wonders how they are in possession of that drug. Paul asks about Yas's commander participating in the naval review. Kanesada and 20 others went to participate and were assumed KIA after the incident. What really seemed to happen is that half of the forces rose up against the Federation. Yas just realizes that Kanesada is Lord Spada. We learn that the Demon Blade AI system is a double-edged sword. In order for Ito to wake, he must be awakened by the Demon Blade. But in doing so, will unleash his true self. It will give Ito life again, but it may unleash a new type that could destroy the world. The old man has what he calls a scabbard that can potentially hold this power. He calls it the Full Armor Striker Custom, also known as Gundam Katana. The FA-79FC Full Armor Striker Custom is a modified version of the Striker Custom that takes parts from Ito's Striker and Yuji's Striker. It also integrates the Choban armor of the Full Armor Alex. Ranged attacks have been enhanced on this unit. Its newest addition is the Fukasaku. Other weapons include 60mm Vulcans, a double beam cannon on the right forearm, a back rocket cannon mounted on the right side, a chest missile bay, a twin beam saber, the knuckle dagger, and a spark shield. Meanwhile, on Abashiri of Side 1, the man with the biggest lips in Gundam history says that he, Kanesada Tsurugi, has fallen from grace. October 13th, UC 0083, we see the events of Operation Stardust play out. The nuke and its mobile suit was stolen from Torrington Base. During the naval review, that weapon was used, taking out half of the fleet, which included all of the Birmingham-class ships. They don't get talked about a lot, but that's just what happens in prequels. You have a new ship that doesn't exist in the future. Guess we gotta destroy them all. Well, almost all of them. This was swept under the rug, and the survivors were forced to keep their mouths shut. 1 year later, UC 0084. A Birmingham-class ship is headed to Side 7 for a Federation meeting. On their way to the meeting as well is the Titans. This happens to be Stonefield and his crony Johan. They tell True Federal that they are going above the speed limit and to slow down. He is still butthurt by what Ito did to him back on Earth, and he wants to prove himself. So he puts on a show of force. He sends out his Jim Quells. A True Federal mobile suit start picking off other mobile suits one by one. It happens to be the GPO-2 MLRS. The RX-78 GPO-2A, Gundam GPO-2A Type MLRS, like the original GPO-2, is a mid-range support mobile suit. The nuclear warhead is replaced with 3 3-tube missile launchers. It is an MLRS, or multiple launch rocket system, and can be launched all at once or at timed intervals. Even without the nuke, it still rocks the shield that can withstand a nuke. Other weapons include 60mm Vulcans, a beam saber, and the BOA XBR-M8205 beam rifle. With the Jute beam dagger, the GPO-2A tears through the Titan's mobile suit. Before he kills Stonefield, Lord Spada tells him to wait and come to their ship. The pilot happens to be Kanesada. Everyone believes that Lord Spada is Kanesada. The two face one another, and he asks Lord Spada to take off his mask. It happens to be Richard Grayson. During Kanesada's adventures in Side 1, he was captured, after which Richard started using Kanesada's namesake. It appears Grayson tried to erase Kanesada. Richard draws his sword. Yas and the others are able to get the Trojan Horse 3 up and running and head towards Side 7, which is where the Federation meeting is being held. Yas checks on Ito. Cortez tells Yas that he plans on disembarking once they make it to Side 7. He has unfinished business there. Cortez also thinks that Barina will probably intercept them before making it to the colony. Yas asks about the Lost Numbers experiment, but that is when the ship gets an alert. It is a Magellan-class ship speeding towards them. It's Stonefield and the Titans running away from Barino and the Kaiser of Dragons. The Kaiser launches 3 Pezun Dawages. The MS-10 Pezun Dawaj is based off of the Dom series and the last mobile suit series designed during the One-Year War. There are added boosters on the legs which increase mobility, but makes it more difficult to handle. It still retains the hover unit of the feet like the Dom. It also has a bigger generator, making the scattering beam gun in the chest useful, unlike the one on the Dom. The standard weapon is the modified giant bazooka, but these particular Dawages uses the EXT-2-2 beam bazooka, which connect directly to the generator. Other weapons include a beam saber and a 420mm rocket launcher. These are a staple of Pezun and a part of the secretive Pezun project. We really need to get back to covering Gundam Sentinel. Yas notices that they move like Ito. They seem to be Demon Blade users as well. The Kaiser bites the juggler, but that is when Cortez comes in to help using the unarmed version of Alex Gundam. Suddenly, Ito wakes up. Cortez asks if these guys are the Lost Numbers. They don't give him an answer. He thinks that he has the upper hand, but one Dawaj pilot tells him, "Who said that there are only 3 of us?" A 4th Dawaj pops out and attacks from behind. They refer to them as cyber-new types and Cortez as just a prototype. Cortez is most likely an early cyber-new type. For more information on the difference between early and late-stage cyber-new types, check out our Johnny Raiden coverage. While fighting, Cortez gets a new type flash of Jupiter. One of the Dawages gets hit with a beam saber and explodes. The hit seems to have come from the inside. Meanwhile, Richard is about to strike Kanesada when he unsheaths his family sword. This causes everyone to stop in their tracks. He tells everyone that he allowed Grayson to function as his double while he was gone. Now is the time when they create a world with benevolence. Yas is on the Trojan Horse 3. He wonders where the attack is coming from. It is the full armor striker, but Ito walks up to the mobile suit. Is it under its own control once again? It grabs Ito. He talks to the AI system as if it were a person. It seems to want to kill both him and his father. His father carried out cyber-new type research out on Jupiter. It seems he went all in on new type theory and wants everyone to become a cyber-new type. This led to him experimenting on his own son. The Gundam squeezes tighter. Ito says that he too wants to kill his dad and that they can work together to make it happen. If the striker kills him right here, he will never get a chance to kill Kanesada on his own. The striker stops and allows Ito into the cockpit. They take off. One of the Dawages rips open the hole on the Pegasus, but that is when the full armor striker comes in. He tells everyone to get back. Cortez tries to tell him about the cyber-new types, but Ito says, "Oh, I know. The Gundam told me." He talks to Gundams now. The Dawaj pilot refers to Ito as brother. They fight with their blades. A Dawaj sends out a shockwave, but he counters the shockwave with his blade. The Demon Blade AI tries to activate, but there is an error. Remember, the old man said that the full armor striker's armor contains the Demon Blade, since it is a double-edged sword to activate. The Gundam recognizes this and tries to remove the armor. While going berserk, he takes out another Dawaj. Meanwhile, somewhere out in space, a Titan's fleet sees intel on this new version of GPO-2. The commander of the fleet is Bask He notes that Kanasada has Anaheim Electronics, Side 1, and Granada on his side. Bask prepares for Kanasada's revenge. As ZFF plans on meeting for the Federation Summit, Bask is certain Kanasada and True Federal will make their appearance on the battlefield. He refers to him as the failure of the Naval Review from a year ago. He is amazed that they were able to acquire so much support, but they won't let them come out on top. This is a weird time where different EFF factions are currently positioning themselves to control the Federation. The Titans weren't the only faction trying to rise to the top. Post the last conflict, it seems as though the Federation had their version of the Patriot Act enacted, allowing certain parties to vie for political power and, more importantly, funding. Bask says that the Titans will become the true rulers. Ito Striker was able to take out the Lost Numbers team of Dawages. The Demon Blade AI amplifies his brainwaves. It was designed to be the ultimate new type tool, but for Ito, this amplifies his desire to kill his father. It brings out the worst in him. He wonders if he could even trust himself. That is when Ogos come in to attack. Yas is watching and is concerned because mobile armors are fast and you have to shoot them, but Ito still hasn't mastered shooting. That is when the Striker shoots down a few Ogos. It seems that the Gundam did all the shooting for him. He says this Gundam was made for him. He is able to annihilate all the Ogos. Hey, that's just an aimbot. Ito heads for the Kaiser of Dragons next. As he begins fighting with the transforming ship, he starts to lose control of the Gundam and it begins reacting on its own. It seems to be pulled towards the Kaiser. It is able to take out the Kaiser as it transforms. Burino tells everyone to abandon ship. Why make it a transforming ship if you barely even use it? Oh well. Ito meets with Yas and the others still on the Pegasus-class ship. He tells them about what happened to Mangle, but Ito says, "Oh, I know. The Gundam head told me. This is like that one time Goku read Krillin's mind. Just try a little bit harder, writers." He tells the team that True Federal intends to use the economic turmoil on the Earth to try to form a new nation of new types. They plan on making this happen at Side 7, the place where Amado awakened his new type powers and the place where the summit is taking place. Stonefield Salamis has linked up with the Pegasus-class ship and his faction of Titans are working with what remains of BGST. They captured one of the Dawaj pilots and demand to know what True Federal plans on doing at Side 7. All he says is that he will lose everything when that day comes. He bites down on his lip and dies. He hid poison in his teeth. Meanwhile, as everyone makes their way to Side 7, many of its citizens protest in the streets. Within the crowd is O'Connell attempting to infiltrate True Federal on the ground level. The protests are interrupted by Gems and a gun tank. O'Connell runs away from the chaos, but she runs into some manhunters who grab and question her. That is when Johan Itakura pretends that she is his girlfriend. He shows his Titan badge to the Manhunters. Also, this is a black and white comic, but this plainclothes Titans officer is totally wearing a vest in Titans colors, isn't he? Even when undercover, a Titans officer can't help themselves. He tries to hit on her by quoting the famous 19th century emo writer, Goethe. Yeah, girls love depressed German writers. She tries to peace out, but he is kind of adamant. O'Connell decides to use this Titans member to her advantage. Time to get this guy drunk. Stonefield notices that his men are all gravitating towards Ito's leadership skills. Ito tells Cortez that Lord Spada is actually Richard Grayson and how he is an investor on Earth. Originally, Kanasada created True Federal as a response to the Naval Review 1 year ago. He wanted to create a world of cyber new types, so he took Ito to Jupiter in Enhancedstone. While Kanasada was the prisoner on Side 1, Grayson donned the mask and pretended to be Lord Spada, so True Federal would continue. But Moneyman Grayson did what Moneymen do. They start thinking, hey man, I can make a lot of money profiting off of war. Let's just do that. Now, True Federal creates both the problem and the solution. Meanwhile, O'Connell got Itakura drunk and is puking in the park. While drunk, he explains that Side 7 is the only colony that gets federal funding because of the memorial they built to the Gundam. In the park is the Zaku's dangly bits that ripped off in the first episode. He essentially says that besides Side 7, the colonists are nothing more than slaves to the Federation. While drunk, O'Connell knocks over Itakura and takes his wallet. She meets up with some of her fellow Zeon, helping her track down True Federal. While she was out, her comrades found out that True Federal's headquarters is a satellite colony near Side 7.
happen. They need to get close enough to the colony to be able to pick up the ship's communications. But that will draw attention of the Fetties, and they need an ID to make that happen. O'Connell just so happened to snatch one off of a drunk Titans member. She volunteers to head to the sub-colony. Later, O'Connell sneaks on board their colony to find a series of Blue Destiny mobile suits. This is Unit 2 Omega. The RX-79 BD-2 Blue Destiny Unit 2 Omega is a variant of Unit 2 that is seen throughout the video games. True Federal studied the exam system to implement into the Demon AI system. They added some of their own research to this Neo-exam system. Like Unit 2, this doesn't have a limiter. Weapons include head Vulcan guns, abdominal wired control missiles, a beam saber, the Blash XBR-79E beam rifle, and a shield. As she runs through the hangar, her head suddenly begins hurting. The Blue Destiny unit is getting into her head. The mobile suit shows her a moment from her past. It showed her a day where she lost someone close to her. Blue Destiny reaches down to O'Connell. She gets into the unit. The Titans notice an explosion on the True Federal sub-colony, and they send mobile suits to check it out. It happens to be Itakura. Blue Destiny destroys Itakura's wingman. O'Connell throws its beam saber, distracting Itakura. She rushes in and slices him to pieces with a secondary beam saber. Blue Destiny's eyes glow bright. She is able to sense Itakura as she kills him. She wonders why this all feels so tragic to her, and why she is this way. Remember, Unit 2 Omega is the basis for the Full Armor Striker Custom. The Demon Blade AI system seems to be feeding off of O'Connell's darker side. Ito tells everyone to go to Stage 3 alert. Cortez asks him if he sensed something coming. Ito tells him not to worry and he will act as the vanguard, while Cortez sucker punches him and takes off in his Alex. He can sense something is coming fast. Before finishing that thought, Blue Destiny attacks him. She could finally get revenge for Cortez killing her father. She seems to be consumed by the mobile suit. Cortez wonders why that girl who tries to blow herself up is here now. The two engage in battle. Cortez pulls off the Spider Venom's maneuver, but he stops midway through. Blue Destiny goes in to attack, when Ito and the Striker saves him from dying. Ito and O'Connell begin fighting. He tells her that she could seek vengeance and their common enemy is True Federal. She says that he broke his promise and she can only trust her father. Ito says that after they take down True Federal, he will personally kill Cortez. Cortez is like, what the hell? Ito tells her that if he doesn't keep his promise, then after they kill Kanasada, she could kill him. Ugh, teenagers. She doesn't know if she could trust Ito anymore. That is when an explosion goes off. The GPO-2 approaches. It is Kanasada. Ito realizes that this is his father. He instantly attacks him. Kanasada says that is no way to talk to your father. The son wonders why he made him endure all of what he endured, just for him to betray EFF and to betray him. Suddenly, the Striker stops moving. Kanasada seems to be controlling the Demon Blade AI. He is able to get one attack off. Kanasada uses the technique Unity with Heaven and Earth, which vibrates the unit with quick speeds, missing attacks, while appearing as though it isn't moving. Kanasada points his beam bazooka at the Striker and fires. Remember, this version doesn't have a nuke. Cortez jumps in front of the beam blast and lalas himself. This enrages Ito. You were going to kill him though. Father and son engage in battle. Kanasada tells Ito that he finally acquired enough power to achieve his benevolence. Kanasada explains, as we have heard from different stories before, that post 1 year war, the entire Earth is in a state of destabilization. We know that even though the zombies lost, the Space Noids in many ways won, at least in the long run. But in order to maintain the Federation's world order, they kept their archaic systems in place, filtering money into the hands of a few Earthnoids. He didn't expect Richard Grayson to betray him while away, but Grayson surprisingly brought forth new allies Kanasada never would think about. As they fight, O'Connell comes in and grabs him, while the Gym Juggler and BGST come in to help. Kanasada decides to make his retreat. Ito notices that the Demon Blade system was activated this whole time. He is slowly gaining control. Is this something that his father was trying to help him with? Back on the Pegasus, Dr. Henry, O'Connell's Xeon comrade, tells Ito of the exam system and its origins. He tells him that O'Connell's mobile suit and his mobile suit share a similar system. Cortez is alive, so O'Connell tells Ito that he better keep his promise. One of the Federation chairmen that kinda looks like Gop, but probably isn't Gop, but it might be Gop, is swarmed by the press. When he reaches his lodging, a True Federal agent suggests to him that he work with Lord Spada and True Federal. The agent relays back to Lord Spada that they may have the chairman in the palm of their hands. Lord Spada says that the Earth will be cleansed by the blood of the Titans who advocate for Earth's superiority.
Tomorrow, the post-war summit will begin. This will be the first time that the Space Noids have a seat at the table, albeit a seat at the children's table. Many Space Noids are protesting the event. A man by the name of Lieutenant General Blake receives a letter from True Federal. True Federal supplies that aren't on the supply list make it into the summit. Lord Spada says that tomorrow will be stained in blood of the Titans. They rose to supremacy after Operation Stardust, but True Federal now has control of the central government of Side 7. Things will change soon. He thanks Richard Grayson for all he's done. Grayson is currently in a back-to-tank healing. Okay, tone it down with the Star Wars references. He is being cyber-enhanced. Meanwhile, Ito's men are 1 day away from Side 7 and will make it just as the summit begins. They will split into two, and the Titans will go and relay this information to their superiors. The Titans have more power and can get things done faster than BGST. Meanwhile, his team will be searching for miniaturized Psychomu systems. They are installed throughout Side 7. Ito believes it is to transmit signals under Minovsky particle dispersion and perhaps even transmit a signal to activate G3 gas. BGST and the Titans will stop True Federal. They salute Ito. Even Stonefield salutes him, but he is kind of embarrassed about it. Ito visits Dr. Henry, who does a brain scan on him. He shows a model of his brain and tells him that he has a link that makes him strong in emotional fluctuation, which is close to emotional suppression. Dr. Henry says that this is the ideal cyber new type. Oh man, just wait 7 years, Neo Zeon will be splitting cyber new types into two. It starts with control of emotional triggers, it ends with split personalities that could kill without the other you knowing. At least there is a through line. Another key is benevolence. Ito reflects back to his father and Mingle, teaching him about benevolence. He blames himself for Mingle's death and wished he never became commander. The next day, the summit begins at Side 7. Gemtov Hyman and others make their appearance. Richard Grayson breaks out of the back-to-tank and yells. The Federation summit begins. Last chapter, we saw one of the security officers from the summit doing mundane things. He is tasked with scouting one section. During his patrol, he begins firing on the summit building. His petite mobile was taken over. The pilot doesn't know what just happened. This was controlled remotely by a team of scientists that hijacked the unit. This is Demon Blade Murasame. This security unit is a part of the Titans. Everyone outside begins pointing fingers at them. As the Federation members leave, Kanesada speaks up. He tells them that his men are assembled outside of the summit. He mentions purging groups that have formed within EFF and brings up his lost men at the Naval Review during Operation Stardust. Remember, Operation Stardust doesn't exist on paper. Cohen and everyone involved in the Gundam development project, including Ko, were placed in prison or silenced other ways. EFF's official statement is that the men that were killed by Gato are MIA. Kanesada just said the truth on a public broadcast while prepping their mobile suits. The BGST team sees the news of chaos breaking out on Side 7. Dr. Henry says that Cortez and O'Connell's mobile suits react to the Demon Blade system. He upgraded Cortez's mobile suit to the Netix. The RX-78 NTX, pronounced Netix, is a new type-based mobile suit originally seen in SD Gundam G Generations. After EFF gained access to Psychomu tech from Zeon post-war, they began experimenting with Psychomu systems. However, they weren't able to miniaturize the Psychomu like Zeon, so they are chunky boys. Its main weapon is the backpack, which stores a pair of wired bits. Since these are wired bits, even old types can use these to a certain extent. Other weapons include 60mm Vulcans, a machine gun, a beam rifle, a twin beam rifle that replaces Alex's Gatling gun, a beam saber, and a shield. When Netix and Blue Destiny are close to Katana Gundam, the three of them will become more powerful. This is the new BGSD team. Cortez doesn't agree to this. They get ready to deploy. The Netix has both the power of the Elmith and the Gundam. Dr. Henry says Cortez needs to have both the new type reaction of Amado and the new type senses of Lala. Cortez wonders if he could live up to that as just a cyber new type. The doctor says he went to Jupiter, so he will do just fine. The doctor lives off the assumption that most people who spend enough time around Jupiter are new types. Ito tells Paul Mercury that he isn't obligated to help BGST, but he says that the die has been cast. He is here to help. Also, the little guy from Harmony 1 is still here with the crew. It seems like Yas is getting off on ordering him around since he is slightly smaller than him. Yas was able to steal the blade of BGST while they were at Granada. When did he have time to do that? He gives it to Ito.
After BGST launches, Stonefield and the Titans will take control of the Pegasus-class ship. He apologizes for bringing this trouble to Stonefield and launches. As BGST launches, Mingle appears to Ito. He tells him something regarding Kanasada, but we do not hear it. They head to Side 7, where they are met with 10 mobile suits. They go into battle. After taking out the mobile suits, Ito notices that the colony is very quiet. Grayson asks an underling if his mobile suit is ready. This is the Domo Mark II, or Duo. The MS-19C Domo Duo, or Mark II is a variant of the Domo with the Demon Blade AI system. This was taken from a Striker custom. This version has the Gundam head, but Grayson modified it to have a twin-eye sensor instead of the mono-eye sensor. This has the same weapons loadout as the Domo, including the tow beam. The hangar door opens, and an Akai approaches him. Grayson expected this man to eventually show himself. This is Old Man Tsurugi Murasame, Kanasada's father and the man who forged the Demon Blade. Murasame says that the Demon Blade was supposed to bring balance to the Force. Bring harmony to EFF. Based off of the character design of his grandfather and his father, Ito has a giant nose and thick lips to look forward to in his adult life. Weird character designs. I love it. Kanasada has fallen from the path, and so too has Ito. He has to make things right by destroying all of the Demon Blade systems, including the one on Grayson's Domo. They engage in battle. Murasame recognizes that he is a cyber new type enhanced to the limits. The old man uses the Great Revolution 1000-hand cannon. He goes in for a final strike, but the Domo blocks it. Grayson says that it is fun being superhuman. BGST goes into the colony to find that the colonists were beaten into submission. That is when a giant mobile armor makes its appearance. It is Burrino in a mass production Big Zam. We talked about this mobile suit in part 4 of this series. Go check it out if you haven't. The Demon Blade mobile suit seems to get weaker the closer they get to the mobile armor. Burrino is piloting this. Burrino was able to make his escape from the Kaiser of Dragons. Yas tells Ito and the rest to head to Side 7 while he takes care of this guy. Since they met on the battlefield at Harmony 1, he has been holding a grudge for the half of BGST team that abandoned them on Earth. He is also trying to prove himself to the young master. Yas whips his balls out and attacks. Burrino activates his eye field. The gym stops moving. That is when Paul comes in and the two do the double finger 3D ricochet. Balls are flying everywhere, but they can't penetrate the eye field. Yas rushes towards the Big Zam. Ito and the others see an explosion go off in the distance. They head into the colony to find that the people have been subdued by the Demon Blade brainwaves. It seems as though the colony is all on drugs. I want to get high off of Demon Blade brainwaves. A group of Titan mobile suits surround them along with Kanasada. They are also being controlled. Kanasada suggests that together they can rule the galaxy as father and son. Something else that totally isn't Star Wars. Ito is starting to realize that this is the purpose of the many Psychomu systems placed throughout the Side 7 subcolony. Even the Federation members are subdued by brainwaves. Kanasada says it is useless. This is their plan. Man is drawn to war, and as humanity scales, so too does our ability to conduct war. At the scale in which humanity operates, war is simply a world extinction event. So True Federal will do it by force. These brainwaves will suppress humanity's desires to go to war. Oh my god, this tool is every fascist's wet dream. You don't believe in what I believe in? Well, with the push of this button, you do now. Ito says this is simply tyranny. Right now, it seems to be only extending to this colony. Ito seems to be the key to making this spread worldwide, or Earthsphere-wide, I guess. They also seem to have this machine hooked up to cyber new types to make this happen. Kanasada's men try to take him away, but O'Connell and Cortez come to save him. O'Connell will handle business while Cortez and Ito get out of there. As Yas rushes in, Paul tells him to retreat. He goes ahead of Yas and does the technique, the kamikaze ball-crushing miracle. Paul's balls goes up in a blaze of glory, taking out the Big Zam's engine. Yas yells out for his master. One thing that the story doesn't really point out until now is that the little kid is piloting the gym in the gym juggler with Yas and Paul in the balls. The kid is able to get the gym moving again. The kid rushes in anger, yelling, "I will avenge you, gay uncle!" Yas and the kid go in for one final blow, killing Burrino and the Big Zam. Even though he was his enemy, Yas still feels empathy for his former BGST member. The two can sense something from the subcolony. At the subcolony, Grayson yells, "I am a golden god!" So taking too many cyber new type enhancements is like taking too much cocaine. Got it. You get delusions of grandeur. However, behind him, the damaged At guy gets up.
Ito's trip to Jupiter will keep him away from the Earth sphere for 7 years. Kanasada hopes this will make him strong. Ito bids his father farewell. He goes into stasis. When he gets out, one man struggling gets carried away. Ito never saw him again. Over time, many others began disappearing. During his cyber new type enhancements, he happens to see the future. He happens to see this moment. In the present, he faces his father, Kanasada. He tells Ito that he learned everything he taught him, but he now realizes that peace can't be achieved with those old ways, which is why he is using the Demon Blade brainwaves. Ito goes in with a swift attack, but Kanasada is able to block it. Cortez is watching the fight go down. Kanasada says that humans don't know how to make a choice and that they only keep on fighting until they destroy themselves. So he will force humanity to make a change. Ito tells him to cut the bullshit. Kanasada begins dual-wielding beam sabers. He pins his son down and tells him to get out of his cockpit. That is when Grayson in his new Domel barges in. He appears to have destroyed Old Man Murasame. Hey Cortez, do you want to help? Nope, just going to watch, huh? Grayson has never actually defeated Kanasada, but today he believes things will be different. He was merely the money man until Kanasada brought him into the dojo. Cortez notices that Kanasada in the GPO-2 and Grayson are just staying still, but Ito can see it. The two are fighting with lightning-fast speeds. Grayson is getting the upper hand. Kanasada says that Grayson's skills can be used to activate the Demon Blade, but his former pupil has other plans. He plans to build his own new world order out of the coming conflict. Grayson grabs the GPO-2 and rips it apart, killing Kanasada. That is when Cortez in the Netics comes in. Finally, you do something. He unleashes his bits on the Domel. With his bits, he believes that it will be a 3v1, and Cortez could get the upper hand. But he still struggles. Ito is upset that he wasn't able to kill his father himself. The Demon Blade system activates. Cortez is mad that Grayson was pretending to be Kanasada and implanted flash memories in his head. They vaguely hinted at this, but not enough for me to care this late in the game. Cortez's mobile suit is overheating, trying to keep up with Grayson. His mobile suit is at its limits, but he will take Grayson down even if the Netics melts in the process. Ito tells Cortez not to waste his life on this guy as he steps in. Grayson uses the move Steel Leg Blazed Wind Slash, but Ito is able to counter the move. He then tries to cancel the young master's palm strikes. He is too fast. Ito could see ki flowing through Grayson. He strikes the Domel, but it still has the power to fight. Grayson says that he will open the door to his godhood. A light suddenly enshrouds Ito. Minovsky particles sweep across the area and cut off all broadcasts. An EFF soldier realizes that it just isn't Minovsky particle interference, however. It is also brainwave activity. On board the Pegasus-class ship, Stonefield's crew suddenly collapses and becomes lethargic. He remembers what Ito said about the transmitters that were installed across Site 7. Stonefield wonders what is happening. Grayson sees the birth of life on Earth and human evolution. He's going on a new type trip like Full Frontal that one time. Suddenly, tendrils burst out of Site 7. Meanwhile, Yas and the little kid find the downed guy. One thing I didn't realize until now is that Old Man Murasame is the old man from Harmony 1. Yas wonders why he is here. He tells the kid to take the guy and head back to Harmony 1. The ball detaches from the gym and Yas goes to search for Ito alone. Ito wakes up at BGST HQ. Mangle is standing in front of him, telling the young master to get up. He is tired from everything, from taking command of BGST to inheriting the Tsurugi family traditions. It is too much for him. He just wants to rest. He is consumed by darkness before O'Connell tells him to wake up. Light begins shining. She reaches out to him. Ito then sees the Tsurugi lineage. They tell him that someone is trying to absorb his consciousness, and Ito must stop this from happening. Old Man Murasame is also there and allows Ito to unsheath the weapon from its scabbard. The striker's armor comes off and a new system is activated. The Katana system. That is when Yas comes in, but Ito tells him to stop. He hears his dad telling him to sever his attachments. A light is unleashed throughout Side 7. O'Connell gets Cortez and Yas to safety. Ito vanishes as the light fades. It also looks like Side 7 got destroyed, but that doesn't seem right. After Side 7, True Federal was destroyed. But since Ito was missing in action, BGST fell into obscurity. Soon, the Titans went to war with the Aeug. The Titans disbanded, and soon the Aeug found themselves fighting against Neo Zeon. We learn that these words come from Pinbone Stonefield. His first name is Pinbone. He is writing his memoirs and reflecting on Ito. Back in Monte Boletto, BGST has disbanded and many went their separate ways. However, Yas upholds the Tsurugi family dojo and many have stuck around, including Cortez. Yas is also rocking a sweet mustache and pomp. I'm jealous. Meanwhile, the Nemesis team learns of Ito's location. The least they could do is tell their comrades where he is. Yas mentions that the Demon Blade was later used in the Psycho Gundam made by Murasame Labs, so they learn that he is living in a quiet area in Japan. They travel to the mountainside near Mount Fuji and find a cabin. They find Ito with a blindfold over his eyes. O'Connell is with him. She only got to his location 3 days earlier. He could sense Yas. He tells them that they should leave, but a storm comes, so they stay for the night. Before leaving the next day, Yas gives Ito the Tsurugi sword and tells him to commit harikari. He says that if a Tsurugi plans on abandoning this sword, then he should end it properly. He hands him the sword, and he has another. He says, "Just kidding, I want to fight you." Since Ito abandoned them, he has been training to be worthy of the Tsurugi sword. He needs to prove his worthiness. The two begin to fight. Yas slices his blindfold off. Yas moves the sword with great speeds, creating static electricity. He charges with his final attack, the Spark Knuckle. However, Ito is able to counter his attack. Yas has been defeated. He begs Ito to return to Monte Boletto and BGST. He reveals that he likes his beard, and reveals that he could see, and he was just messing with everyone. Even O'Connell, who came 3 days earlier. Everyone yells at him and tells him to return. We learn that this is all still Stonefield's memoirs. Because of this, he corrected Ito's MIA record. The BGST is back. As for their adventures, that's a long story for a different time. Signed, former Captain Pembone Stonefield, February 2nd, UC 0092. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Katana and the Hooligan Saga. I love the camaraderie in this manga. Much of the BGSD team is based off of a Yakuza clan, and you could see that throughout the manga. I genuinely enjoyed this manga, but that ending fell quite flat. And I was kind of expecting a cool fight, and not just ending with a flash of light. They leave room for another BGST story to be told, and I would love to see another sequel, but I have a feeling this is the end of this saga. The artwork was so bizarre and unique that it stands out amongst the rest. Even though I like this, I enjoyed Hooligans a little more than Katana, but let me know which Sono Yoshihiro manga you liked more. Did you like this or Hooligans? Or did you like the At-Guy side story? Let me know. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, sometimes you don't get the pleasures of killing your own father. You just gotta live with it. Peace.